This is Tarron of Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the Rein cow horse. This week we are doing a review with Whiz. We're going over new loping and steering exercise that we've been working with her on for this week, and today is going to be a perfect example of why we do it with these young horses, especially some of these horses that think they want to go and they think they want to go and kind of run off or get silly. For some reason, done groundwork with her this morning, and I get on her, she still thinks she kind of wants to go take off and go somewhere. And so, it had me thinking what we're trying to do with these horses is much like we need to do with our lives. You need to be able to have the skills and the ability to take what's going on in the day, what's going on in your circumstances, and use those things, be able to use whatever's going on for your benefit. And so, the example would be, I was listening to an interview with Deion Sanders, Hall of Fame football player and big time college coach that a lot of people are listening to now. They really like what he's doing. But he talked about how he did not allow anybody or anything to cause him to have a bad day. He said he might have a bad minute or bad half a day, but he wouldn't have a bad day. And it was all perception and mindset. But what are the tools that you have that you can use in order to turn a day around and turn a situation around? And so it had me thinking about, I know that there's people that all sorts of things just hit them all at once, and they lack the skill and understanding of how to calm themselves back down and be able to put themselves in a good frame of mind to where they can utilize and utilize those things that are going on and take that day and use it to be a learning experience, or to use it to further them, or for their benefit. And so, much like what we're doing with these horses, I want to have a set of tools, a set of foundational exercises that I put these horses, I do with these horses, that I teach them. So when a horse is coming out here and is feeling a certain way, well, we can put his feet to work and we can use that to our advantage. And so if this horse, just like we're about to do, she wants to get up and go somewhere, and so I'm going to let her. So this exercise we're going to do is, working on our steering and working on our directions and working on all that at a lope, but it's also getting in her mind. So like this horse, a horse that's really fast, wanting to go somewhere, I can do a lot of these transitions. I can go up here and I can take her up into a trot and bring her back down. I can do a bunch of that. But I can also put her to work. And so I have sets of tools and sets of exercises that help me put that horse back in a good frame of mind whenever something does happen that gets a horse fired up. Because you're always going to have those days where the freaking wind's blowing and the dirt's blowing in your eyes and horses are jumping around and there's, just things going on, and horses are feeling a certain way and you're feeling a certain way. But it's important to have these tools that you teach yourself, that you have, in order to get yourself in a good frame of mind. And it's important to have these tools, these exercises that you use to get these horses in a good frame of mind as well. One of the things that Ed Milet talked about, that me and my wife have been talking about, but was talking about these thoughts and how it takes 15 seconds for you to have a thought. So if you hold on to a thought, whether it's good or bad, you hold on to that thought for 15 seconds. And if that thought is in your mind is going to find another thought that is related to that one. And so if you're in a bad frame of mind, if you're thinking about bad things or negative thoughts, you have negative thoughts in your mind, say, well, I don't know why today's so hard, or I don't know why that happened, or this happened, or this, just negative thoughts. He said, no, you gotta switch and think about a good thought for at least 15 seconds, and you utilize that, and then your mind is going to start working for you. And so then it's going to think about another thought that's related to that good thought, and then it's going to think about another thought that's related to that good thought, and then here in a minute you've turned your day around. And so when we can learn those things. It's important that we do, if we're working to do something spectacular in our life, we have to go and learn tools and exercises that help us in that daily routine and that daily mission, in order so that we can stay consistent in what we're doing. Because if you don't have those tools, and every time something gets in your way, or somebody says something, or the wind is blowing and just nasty outside, you're just going to quit, because you don't have the tools to be able to persevere and work through whatever situation's in front of you. So anyway, so with this horse, we're going to go and use this whole arena, where with Cinco we just used part of it, but with her we're going to go and travel around. It's not going to be as pretty in the camera, but this is what this horse needs right now. And so she kind of cut out of this corner here, and so I'm just covering this whole arena right now at the trot, and then I'm going to do it at the lope as well. I want to get into her mind, and so I'm going to use, like I said, I'm going to use both types of exercises. I'm going to use exercises that bring her back down, that shut down her feet, but I'm also going to have things that we do that pick up that energy and get them going somewhere. You're saying, well, if you want to go and run around and be kind of crazy, I'll let you. And until she decides that, hey, it's not such a bad idea for me to slow down and start thinking about some things. I want myself, I want our family, and I want these horses responsible for themselves. And so that means that we have to be able to think, we have to be able to process, we have to be able to make our own decisions as people, but these horses have to be able to do the same thing. And so I put them in a situation to where, if they want to, just like this, if she wants to go run off and run to this corner and really pick up speed, and run off, she can. I'm not going to stop her. But here in 2 or 3 laps, she's going to figure out, hey, that's not such a good idea. I might just want to relax a little bit. I may just want to calm down and not be so quick, reserve some of my energy. And so, I like that she's already starting to think about this exercise, because we've been doing this for the last 4 days or so. And yeah, when we started, sure enough, she wanted to go run off to this corner. And, so I let her. And then I hit the corner and we just kept going. And we go to the next corner. Until she figures out that it's probably not such a good idea for me just to run off being crazy. I might want to reserve my energy, come down to this corner and kind of relax. And so it's important to, like I said, it's important to do these type of exercises and to have tools in your toolbox to take advantage of these days, whatever day presents itself. Like, maybe we wouldn't have ordered all this strong wind blowing and dogs barking and cloudy and all that stuff, but it's important to persevere and have tools in order to make that an enjoyable experience, and utilize it as an experience and utilize it to the best of your ability. And so like I said, we're just gonna let her travel around here. See, I'm not holding her back. I'm not trying to keep her from running off. She's decided to idle down herself, because she said she doesn't know how long we're going to sit and do this. And so she's going to idle herself back, start preserving her energy. And that also gets her thinking about me. See, her ears are paying attention to me. She's not running off or paying attention to what's going on all the way around her. She's wondering when I'm gonna ask her to do something else, or ask her to quiet down, or to stop, or do something else. So she's paying attention to me a lot more. So I want her to run down here to this corner on a straight line. I want her to have the confidence to run up to this corner. And if she wants to slow down, that's all right a little bit. As I progress, I'm gonna want her to keep that lope up, and I'm just gonna guide her around that corner instead of letting her stop in that corner or slow down in that corner. So like this corner here, we just went through. She went up to the corner. She didn't, and we just guided through it. This one's the same way. She didn't worry about that corner. If she comes off this fence line, I'm gonna take her back to it. See, I don't want them shying away from the corners of this. There, she kind of leaned out of this corner some, so I took her into it. We're gonna run down here to this corner. There, I didn't. So I'm gonna take her back down over here. We're gonna repeat the line we just took. She did do it very well. That was better. I'm going to take her off into this corner, let her kind of sit here a second, and then we're going to go off the other direction. She's definitely still going at it a little quicker than I would like. And so we're going to continue working on it for this week. Giving her a chance to lope off and go somewhere enough to where she starts idling back herself. And so there's an amount of time that we have to let these horses lope around in order for them to decide that maybe they ought to just lope a little slower. You know, on the ranch cowboys, those horses are going to figure that out pretty quick, because they may be out there all day. They may be working all day. They may be trotting out all day. And so, you know, that's why a lot of people, you'll see people want to send a horse to a trainer and they say they should be more. It's the same principle. We can do this in the arena. We create some exercises or some patterns that we run, and we spend enough time at that lope, at that trot, in order for that horse to come to the same conclusion that those ranch horses get to when they're worked all day. So it's like I want to be able to get on this horse and her lope off in a slow, collected manner, or a slow, free manner, without being crazy about it, or trying to go too fast, or, you know, want her to lope off and rate herself. See, she's still kind of speeding around this arena, and so we're going to do it for a little while. We're going to do this exercise for a little while. You know, it's her decision to act kind of erratic, to act kind of silly. So we're just going to put her in a position where she has to think through, kind of get into her mind through her lungs. This exercise. Some horses, it may not work, where, you know, you have a running type horse that sits there and run all day, and you may not be able to get to them this way. But with this colt, you will. She's not being bad. She does have a big motor. She has a lot of ability about her. She pays attention. She's gonna have a lot of action, a lot of moves to her. And so we just have to be able to tap into her mind and get her thinking about things, get her thinking about us, get her thinking about what we're doing, instead of just blindly reacting. See, and when a horse is pretty reactive still, and they're kind of fired up, and they get it over here to this corner, and you go to steer them, they'll kind of jump around, and they'll get kind of worried, and because they're worried about getting to that corner, and they're they don't have enough, they're not controlling their own feet enough. And so, or we can come up here and we can just guide them around this corner and go somewhere else again. You know, it helps them to slow that mind down, slow that reactiveness down, and it just helps them out a bunch. She's starting to slow down a little bit. She wasn't steering at all. She's getting stiff. And so I want her to step up there, steer around. See, all of that stuff, that stiffness, is just her being overreactive instead of slowing her mind down and taking control of her own feet, taking control of her emotions. She's one to run off and just kind of blindly react. So So I'm gonna let her get a little breath right here in this corner, let her rest in this corner a little bit because she's been kind of concerned about it. Let her mind kind of catch up a little bit. You know, some horses think pretty well when they're working, and their minds seem to get better as they work more. And others, they need to take a breather a second and get a little bit of kind of catch up with themselves a little bit and be able to think about what's going on. Let them get a little bit of a breath. So I'm just gonna soften her up a little bit in this corner. Because she got really stiff on me. She wasn't steering. She wasn't listening very good right here. We're gonna go back at it. See, already she loped off a lot slower. She started thinking again. And I'm gonna let her. If she wants to lope slower, I'm gonna let her. I do want her to keep moving her feet around these corners, but I'm gonna let her slow down. If she wants to lope slower, I'll let her. Because I want her to think about what we're doing. these horses, you got to be able to have some tools and have some exercises to get these horses thinking and in the right frame of mind. Because when a horse comes out, and maybe you've been working them a while, but just something, horses are going to have days that they come out and they're reactive, or they're not acting how you generally expect them to. And so it's important to have exercises and things you can do with them. Maybe you got groundwork, maybe you have some of these riding exercises that you can do with them that get them back in that frame of mind so that you can stay safe and that horse will stay safe. See, she's still reactive right here. So I'm going to just take her back to this corner. She can come up into that corner and just let me guide her around that corner instead of jumping back and forth. She doesn't have to do that, but she's doing that not thinking, she's just reacting. See, that time was better. She kind of checked back with me to see if I was going to guide her into that corner or not. And I just guided her around it. She kept going. Now, I'm going to do this at a trot with her. Let her realize she doesn't have to speed around here every time we do this exercise. I'm going to ask her to do it at a lope, but she doesn't have to speed down here to this corner and speed down there to that corner, and she can regulate and put in less energy and spend more time thinking about me rather than running off to the, running off over here or looking over the fence or whatever. This corner has kind of been the one that she's kind of been most concerned about, and so I'm going to let her get a breather over here for a minute, and when I get done with her later, I'm going to get off of her in this corner and lead her back to the barn from this corner, where this is the one that we stop, we relax. I want to quit her in the part of the arena that she maybe doesn't like the most, or there's something going on or whatever, instead of in the corner that she's most comfortable with, maybe over there by the horses or something like that, or the out gate. See, and if you look at her demeanor, the difference between right now and when I got on her, her head's a lot lower. She's still she's still got plenty of energy to her. She's still got plenty of momentum. She'll get up and go somewhere, but she's thinking about me a lot more. I want to wait for her to get soft in my hands. I'm not going to yank on her or pull on her more. I want her to get soft to that pressure herself. There. So I'm going to walk her around, let her kind of catch her breath a little bit, get some softness back through her body. It's important to kind of work on balancing your horse out. I want to be able to go somewhere, pick up and go somewhere. I want to be able to stop. I want to be able to keep that horse soft and work on that softness. You know, if you do a bunch of exercises that are all just forward motion, that horse is probably going to get pretty forward on you. He's probably not going to stop very well, and he's probably not going to be very soft. And the same thing, you know, if you're just softening that horse up, you probably don't have a whole lot of forward motion. If you're just stopping that horse all the time, that young horse all the time, he's probably not going to get up and go somewhere. He's probably not be very soft either. And so we just want to try to balance these horses out and be able to get this horse to soften. So right here, she's not wanting to, so I keep putting my leg in her. She's thinking I want her to back up, which is interesting. But I want to stay with her till we get the right answer. I might take my hand out take my hand out a little bit. There. This horse has she's made a lot of progress right here with just getting a lot softer to my hands, getting softer to my feet. Whereas a couple weeks ago, she's pretty stiff around here. She's pretty heavy on my hand. See, I like where she's coming around this circle. She's got a lot of slack in that rein. She's not as stiff. She's not leaning on that bit when she's coming around this circle. She's thinking about being soft coming around here, so she's starting to figure it out. I'm waiting for her to get soft right here. Like I said, she got pretty forward, got pretty stiff through her body, so she's gonna have to work on it a minute to get her wanting to get soft to me vertically, wanting to come back to me. Some of these lessons are a little longer. Sometimes you find a spot, some of these horses that they really need it. You know, sometimes, you know, if like her, I knew that she needed a lot of time just loping around, and it's going to be, it was going to get uglier before it got better, before it got prettier. There's a lot of times even in life, the things that maybe we avoid or make us the most uncomfortable are things that we really need to lean into and handle and address, because until you learn that lesson, it's going to keep coming up that you don't know the answer to that. So even like this horse, it might be uncomfortable. Maybe a horse is doing something and it's really uncomfortable, it's unpleasant. Maybe they're loping around there and kind of running off, and it's a lot of work to stay in the middle of that horse. And I say running off, relatively to a broke horse, not running off. But you don't ever want to put yourself in a dangerous situation. But what I mean is, when something's uncomfortable, maybe a horse doesn't know it very well, or they're pretty reactive right there, you got to be able to stick with it until you get it better, until you help that horse work through it. Because that hole, you'll create a hole if you don't address it. And it might take extra time. It might be longer. It might take more repetition to get through to that horse. But it doesn't mean, just because you ignore it doesn't mean that it isn't what the horse needs. So like right here, we had to go and go back to doing this at a standstill to get her softer right here before I ask her to do it from a walk, or from a walk and a trot, in order to stop her. And it took a little extra time, but it's what we needed to do with her. See, it was a lot quicker. She started thinking about getting softer a lot quicker. She's still not doing it very quick. Not as quick as I'd like. If like Cinco, she'll give just about, she'll start giving before you even finish asking. She's ahead of you that way. And like I said, it's not to say that one horse is better than the other. They're just different. Where this horse will get up and move, and she'll get up and cover some ground, and she'll lope around, and she's going to have a lot of action to her. She's going to have a lot of speed to her. She's probably going to have a longer stride. There's differences horses have, but we've got to be able to spend the time to help them through the things that they're good at and help them get better, their strengths, but also we got to get those weaknesses better as well. I do like that she's starting to stop. She's starting to feel my hands, and she's starting to shut her feet down. Now I'm just wanting her to correlate stopping and shutting her feet down with also getting soft. And so that's why we have to wait until she gets soft, until we take the pressure. We don't want to take that pressure off until she's soft. We want her to correlate stopping her feet with being soft. With a horse like this, if a horse like this, a forward type horse that's going to get up and go somewhere, if you don't incorporate this, if you don't quit them when they get soft, and you help them understand that's what stopping means. A horse like this is the type that you see running around with their head up in the air, and somebody's got to put big old bits on their mouth big old bits in them in their mouth to get them to stop and slow down, and that horse is gets their head up in the air and really stiff. It's easy to, if you don't quit them when they get soft, it's easy for that to happen. See, I sit down, take my feet off of her, and grab the reins, and she stops. So now, like I said, we're just waiting for her to, to refine it. We want her to get soft a lot quicker, and that's just going to come through repetition. For her to realize that see, I like that, to where when I asked her to get up and go somewhere, she's kind of rating herself back. She's not wanting to trot off too quick and not wanting to run off. And so I like that. That's a decision that she's made. With what we did, that loping exercise we did, and then doing a lot of these transitions, she's starting to thinking about me and wondering when I'm going to ask her to stop. See right there, she thought about moving forward, but she decided to stop and keep her feet planted still. So I'm going to let her sit here a second. Those things are small and kind of small things you notice, but it's a big deal when that horse decides. They have an inclination, like this one. She has an inclination to go and take off somewhere, but she's deciding to slow down. She's deciding to rate herself back, and she's deciding to listen to me when I want her to stop. And when I pick up on the reins, she's wanting to stop and slow down. See, that's a decision, and that comes from doing exercises that gets into her mind, and letting her relax and calm down in the right time. There. And so with her, we worked on the backup for this week as well. Where I pick up, I ask her to back up, and she does. And so again, in that backup, we're gonna do the same as when I stop. I want her to, I'm gonna let go when she's soft in my hands, just like that. And so I want that backward cadence. I want those feet moving, and I want her to give to my hands and to get soft. So like I said, it's just the same as when we're stopping this horse. I want her to move her feet, or stop her feet, and get soft in my hands. And so with this exercise, with this stage and teaching her how to back up, I want to be able to back up, pick up on the reins, have some cadence in her feet, and her get soft in my hands, and then I'll let her go. See, but this wouldn't have worked out very well when we stepped out here first of the day. She's kind of wound tight. She's kind of worked up. But we do want to get to where she's in this kind of frame of mind from the very beginning. And it just takes time. It takes repetition. But she'll get there. We're gonna do a lot more of this right here, where she thinks about getting soft in my hands and does it a lot quicker. Like I said, it's just gonna take repetition. So I want to lean back, have some cadence with my feet, kind of roll my spurs up her belly until she gets soft in my hands. We may go a little while. I want her there. She got soft, and so I let her be done. So overall, I'm proud with how she's come along this week, the things that we've worked on. Just kind of showing you where we're at with her. She's definitely getting better. She's continuing to improve. She's learning every day and getting better, even in all this wind. Well, that's our review with Whiz for this week. We'll catch up with you on the next one.